In this video, I'll show you how to set up a quiz in Framer using FramerForms. I'm Georgia from Insert Frame. Let's go. Before we get into anything, there are two types of quizzes that we can make work in FramerForms, and it's worth knowing the difference up front. So we can see this by going into one of our quiz questions and going into quiz. And we can see something called scoring correct wrong, which is your classic quiz. There's one correct answer per question, and FramerForms tracks how many the user gets correct. Think knowledge tests, trivia, certifications quizzes. The second is weighted options. Instead of one correct answer, every option has a point value. The user's total score at the end is what matters. So a score of 4 to 6 might mean one outcome, 7 to 9 might mean another. What you'd use for a personality quiz or a plan finder, anything where the answer isn't right or is right but leads somewhere different. Both work the same, but it's worth noting before you build your quiz. So the first thing I'll do is open the FramerForms plugin, go quizzes, and I'll pull in this template that the FramerForms plugin has given me. That's what's nice about FramerForms. You don't have to start from scratch. It gives you a working template, so you have a few different options and quiz options to choose from. The first thing that I'll do is click on the quiz form. This is the brain of the form. This is the component that ties everything together, so we'll just give it a name. We can stick with test quiz or we can add something else, but we just have to make sure that this is consistent. We'll call it my quiz. This just needs to match the ID on the result display later, so everything's connected. Now I'll click on one of the questions. I'll use the radio inputs here. Now if I go into the radio quiz, I can see that it's going to give me the quiz options here. So all we need to do is set a correct answer, which we can see is option 2. And then I can set how many points this will be worth and how many the wrong answer will be worth, which is usually 0. I'll just leave mine at 3 and wrong at 0. Now, let me show you the other mode. So if I go weighted questions, we can see that it gives us points here. We put in the name of each radio input and we would put the value that it is. So if we went Q1 and that is worth 5, but maybe Q2 is worth 10, that's how we would work out weighted answering. But we're going to go back to correct wrong for now. Now, if we looked at our button input, we can see that it's structured a little bit differently with the quiz option being down the bottom. And we can also change the options that we have here, such as weighted options and the correct answer as well, similar to the radio input, but it's not a separate component. Something else that I'll note here as well is that you can't use regular inputs from FramerForms in your quizzes because it will be missing this quiz option here. You have to use the inputs that we have for quizzes. Another input that I'll show you is the text input. Now we have a few options here, but if we go down to quiz, we can actually see that we can write in the correct answer and we can make it case sensitive or non-case sensitive. We can also add do spaces matter. Now if we go down to the result display, I'll click on it here. This is what shows the user their score. The quiz ID needs to match, so that's what we set at the first step. So we can copy and go back down to the value display and paste it in the quiz ID option here. The score field controls what gets shown. So if we go down to score, we have different options for our quiz. Now we need total points. Now show results is set to live, but if we wanted to only show it after submit by clicking the submit button, we could also do that. Output is set to text right now, which just shows the score as a number. If you switch it to components, you can connect it to different frames on your Framer canvas that show based on the score ranges, but that's a more advanced setup, but optional if you'd like to do that. We can also go into details, change the fallback, prefix, and suffix. If we change this score, we can see that it changes that here, and we can also remove the fallback if we don't want it at all. It's as simple as that to create your first quiz in Framer using FramerForms. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today, creating quizzes in Framer using FramerForms. Until next time, happy building!